Hey everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. Sorry about starting a few minutes late. I had a couple technical difficulties, but I think we are all on board now, and hopefully that trend continues because I have lots of different technology we're going to be showing you tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I am super excited for tonight's class. This is one I've been waiting to do for quite a long time about the seed to seal process, and let's see, I think you guys can see my screen now, about the seed to seal process and the farms. And I kind of scheduled this because Ben and I scheduled it later. Just a second, sorry. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Ben and I, my husband Ben and I attended convention this year, and one of the really cool things about convention this year, particularly when it was in Utah, was that you could actually take a day and go to the farm. They had it for kind of an extended afternoon, and it was just awesome. So we got to see the seed to seal process in action and tour the farm, some of the fields, and it was just amazing. So I really wanted to share it with you guys. I could probably spend 4 hours talking about the farm and how awesome it was, but I'm going to try and condense this down into an hour or less for you guys, but I have lots of stuff to share. So we're going to talk about seed to seal and the Young Living Farms, which kind of go hand in hand. So seed to seal. It's not a slogan, it's our calling. So it's what makes Young Living special. So there's other companies out there that are trying to mimic what Young Living is doing, but nobody has the seed to seal process like Young Living does. We're going to go through that in detail tonight. So it's what makes Young Living stand out. So what is seed to seal? So it's really simple. Young Living is the world leader in essential oils, and they believe that families deserve to harvest the benefits of nature every day without compromise. So they have a commitment to purity and stewardship, and it's embodied in a unique proprietary process called seed to seal. No other company can match what Young Living does and assure the purity and potency of high quality essential oils. So I'm going to back up for a quick second because I didn't introduce myself. My name is Kelly Karstens, and I have the Faithful Drops team, and Sherry Whitrock and I joined up together for the summer. She has the Ready Set Oil team, and we're offering these Zoom calls for our team, and they'll be posted on the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, so you can go and watch at your leisure. You can share these with any friends who have any interest. So we really just wanted to get all this information out to you guys. So I am learning tons every week, and every week I think I learn more every week, and I think, oh gosh, this is the best class, and I think that the next week too. So actually, I want to show you guys this. Britta, one of my upline diamonds, lent me this book. I thought there'd be a lot in there. I actually wanted to learn a little bit more in depth about the farms and the history of Young Living. This is Gary Young, the world leader in essential oils. You can actually order this in your virtual office, and it is just wonderful. It has a lot of history, a lot of information. It actually has a lot of science in there. And if you know the color personalities, I'm actually pretty green, but some of it is just more than I care to know. I do love to research ingredients and that sort of thing, but some of that stuff is just over my head, and I trust that Young Living has our best interests at heart. So check this book out. I'm definitely going to be purchasing one. It's going to be hard to give this one up. Britta actually gave me one of her signed copies, which is pretty cool. It's written from Mary's perspective, so it's let's say if I was going to write a book about Ben, I would probably be gushing about all the stuff he does, and that's kind of how Mary writes it. So just kind of preface that knowing it when you're reading it. It's pretty cute when you look at when you see him in person and know their relationship and you know it's true, then it's cute from that perspective. So anyway, check out this book. Hopefully I'll be getting one soon, so if you want to borrow it, let me know. So we are going to move ahead. So quality from seed to seal. So there are actually 5 different parts of the seed to seal process, and they are seed, cultivate, distill, test, and seal. So seed to seal. We're going to talk about each one a little bit in depth. But so Young Living's commitment to quality starts with the seed. The seeds they use are selected for their ability to become botanicals with high levels of bioactive compounds. Then the seeds are grown using cultivation practices that are dedicated to responsible and sustainable growing and harvesting methods. So some of the research that I did, some of the cultivation is done by hand. There was even a thing in Ecuador think it was Ecuador, about how some of the farmers were like pulling the roots out from the ground because it was fastest and they were getting paid by the pound, and so they were weighing more, but it actually wasn't the best for, I think it was ylang ylang. And so Gary wanted it cut a certain way that maximized some of the constituents in the ylang ylang that really are very beneficial to us and we really like. So that was kind of cool. Another story that I have about the seed process is that Bobby Shaven, a girl who is in one of our groups, was talking to one of the Young Living people. I think it was at the farm. It might have been at the expo this year. And he actually said that they pick specific seeds to grow from our farms and to pollinate and plant and that kind of thing. And they actually pick ones that don't look the same. So he said when it's the same and the same and the same and the same and the same, that gets really manufactured. And so they actually pick ones that look a little bit different, because you just never know what's going to grow, what is going to withstand different temperatures, different things that Mother Nature might have in mind. So I thought that was a really cool tidbit. So next, Young Living distills using a gentle proprietary technique for steam extraction. So the citrus oils are cold pressed, but most of the oils that we use are steam extracted. I have a video later, hopefully that'll work, to show you guys. So that helps preserve the precious constituents. So there's some research that's been done, and there was some testing, I think it's called Brix testing, that is done sometimes in the field, and it is a test that shows, I believe, how much glucose is in some of the aqueous solutions, and it can be used to help determine what the best time it is to harvest a particular plant that can give us the best values and the highest amounts of the different constituents that they're looking for. For example, the Northern Lights, and I think the Idaho, some of those things, the best time to harvest it was actually in the coldest it can be. So not great for the workers and the people that are out there, but it gets us the best plants and the highest value out of those plants. So that's pretty cool. So to guarantee consistent, verifiable quality, the oils are tested in Young Living's internal lab as well as third party, and each batch is actually numbered so that they can go back if something happens or there's a question, they can actually go back to that batch and check it again. So they kind of have that kind of safeguard in place so they can go back to each little batch. I think they save a little bit of it, must be somewhere, so they can go back to do that. And then the last part, each essential oil is carefully bottled and labeled using state-of-the-art equipment. So when I was out at convention, I was lucky and blessed to be able to go on a warehouse tour. So I have a couple pictures of that for you guys. There were some areas that we actually couldn't take pictures or you couldn't use your camera. So I'll have to tell you some of that from memory. But it was really neat to see the warehouse because some of the things are bottled there, tested there, and that was just really cool to see the whole process. So we're going to keep going and learn a little bit more about seed. So we have superior seeds, superior plants. So powerful, effective essential oils come from seeds and plants that are verified for their potential to produce high quality essential oils. So that's what we want to pick when we're picking our seeds. The essential oils come from plant species that have been authenticated by Young Living and industry experts. They're nurtured, the seedlings are nurtured in protected greenhouses before transferring them to the field. And Ben and I actually got a chance to replant the picture that's way over there on the right of the little rootling or seedling. I'm not sure exactly what that's called. I did take botany in college, but don't remember much about it, unfortunately. But anyway, we actually got to help replant yarrow out there, and that's what we got to plant in the field as well. So that was pretty cool to get to experience. So then seedlings are nurtured in protected greenhouses, and then when they're ready, they're transferred to the field. Sometimes they actually have to even wait a year to go ahead and plant them. But it's a small sacrifice to make sure we produce the excellent essential oils that we've known to grow and love and expect from Young Living. So the seed potential, powerful essential oils come from seeds and plants that are verified. That's what we know. We have expert evaluation and proven potency. So we know that the seeds that we use are selected for their ability to become plants with the highest levels possible of bioactive compounds. So like, for example, lemon, that's not a very good example because it's, let's say peppermint is really has menthol in it. Menthol. And so they might just pick different seeds that they know are going to be higher levels of menthol or something like that, just an example. Probably a bad example. There's probably a better one for it, but that's the first thing that came to mind. So cultivating, perfecting our roots. Young Living's farm, located around the globe, are dedicated to perfecting our responsible and sustainable growing and harvest methods. Soil preparation, balance of sun and water, responsible weed and pest control ensure stringent standards are met. So some of the things, they don't use any pesticides. They actually use some essential oils and floral water, which we'll talk about later, and they kind of hand the weeds by hand, that kind of thing. So it's just very meticulous, the lengths that are gone to. So we have sustainable methods. So the farms around the globe are dedicated to perfecting the responsible methods. Superior quality. So we have experts that travel around the world. They visit our co-op farms to verify that their processes meet our high standards. And a rich supply. So these operations provide an ongoing source for essential oils that meet Young Living standards. Distill. This just blows my mind. It's really cool to see. And reading this book, I got to read a lot about some of the ancient distilling methods that were used like way back in Christ's time, that kind of thing. And it's just really interesting to think of how primitive some of those civilizations were, but how they were using what they had, and how they were coming up with the distillation and that kind of thing that exists way back in that time. So it's really cool. Again, little plug for this book, but read it. It was really awesome. And not too hard to read either, at least for me. There was some spots I skipped, like I said, that was really scientific. But okay, so distillation, authenticity, one drop at a time. So Young Living uses a gentle technique for steam extraction. Remember I said most of the oils, almost all the oils except for citrus, are steam extracted. And it preserves their precious constituents. So we want to make sure that we get the highest amount of whatever it is that we really want in that substance out. So Young Living has a proprietary low temperature, low pressure steam distillation process that assures the beneficial plant compounds in every batch of oil remain uncompromised during the extraction process. So I kind of think sometimes about vegetables, and if you're steaming vegetables, you know how if you boil them and they're all soft, like you lose a lot of the nutrients, but if you just steam them, it keeps in some of the really great nutrients from the vegetables that you don't get if you boil them really, really hot. So that's kind of the same principles of the distillation. We want to make sure that we do it slowly, and I know that there's a couple of the plants I read in that book that some of them have to sit like on the floor and dry, and some of them go straight in, some of them to the distiller. Some of them, they found that they did better if they were like on a tarp for a decent amount of time. So they actually had a tarp like right behind the harvester, and it just went right into the tarp. So it never touched the ground and didn't just kind of sat in. I don't know, for whatever reason, they decided that that worked best and did all sorts of tests in the field, and it did. So it gave us the best oil. So that's what they do. So like I said, we got to see this in process at the Mona farm, and I'll tell you all about that later. So distill, we have innovative approaches, proprietary techniques, and diverse methods. So depending on what is needed for different things. So like I said, most things are steam distilled. Our citrus oils are cold pressed, and some things are actually come out as a resin. So I know frankincense is one of those. It actually is a resin. It's tapped from a tree. So if you kind of think about like you get molasses or maple syrup from a tree, that is kind of the process. It's actually kind of like a stripping, and it looks like the tree bleeds, but it actually bleeds out the resin. So that's really cool. And I know from reading the book, there's a different way to distill the resin to make sure that the constituents are the best that they can be. So lots to learn. But like I said, I trust that Young Living has just this awesome process, and all the science behind it, their transparency, everything is just amazing. Test. So this is one of the most important things, and I actually learned a little bit about this at the warehouse tour. So these are the different tests that we do over on the right: gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, refractive index, specific gravity, flash point, optical rotation. And a lot of these are just done on the field. So a lot of our farms, we actually have distilleries and testing facilities right on site of the farms that we own, so they can test it as it's coming through to know kind of how that is. And I grew up on a farm. My dad still grows corn. We used to have soybeans when I was little, and I remember going to the elevator with him, and they would stick the little probe in the big truck, and they would kind of see what the moisture content was. And I kind of really think about that because I remember my dad thinking, oh, this is what the moisture is. This is what the moisture is. It's getting better or worse. Of course, my dad's a farmer, so he's always worried, but it's for good reason. But it just kind of makes the testing kind of makes me think of that. You know, you're always just testing to see what kind of crop you're getting and making decisions that way. So Young Living values authenticity in our essential oils so much that we make sure every step of the process is followed with precision and integrity. So a little bit about what each one of those things do. So the gas chromatograph, it measures the percentage of constituents, which are the plant chemicals in the oil. So like I said, it might be menthol, it might be methyl salicylate, it might be limonene, it might be all sorts of things like that, the different constituents. So watch the resources class on the YouTube channel, and I kind of went through how to research some of those and look them up in the reference materials. The mass spectrometer identifies the names of each constituent in the oil, so it can kind of see what different things are in there, what constituents. The refractive index measures the density of the oil using a concentrated beam of light. Specific gravity measures how heavy the oils are in reference to water. The flash point ignites the oils and tests it against standard flash temperatures. And then optical rotation measures the molecular structure of oil. So some of this, like I said, I'm a green personality, but some of this is just over my head because I don't do it every day, so I don't understand a lot of that. But it's really cool. It's something that you really want to know more about. So each batch of essential oil is sent through 6 rigorous tests. I've actually heard 8. So I think it probably varies between 6 and 8, at least 6, and compared to established quality benchmarks for that particular plant. These tests can quickly determine if the oils have been subjected to dilution, cutting, or adulterated processes. Oils that exhibit even the slightest hint of possible alteration or tampering are rejected. So when I was at the warehouse tour, Walter Moot, who is actually the Chief Information Officer, I think is his title, he was talking about how they had, so we know that 2 of our really popular blends, Valor and Peace and Calming, are out of stock right now, which is just going to happen with Mother Nature when you really want pure oils of great standards. So they were out of stock, and I believe it's Blue Tansy that is keeping those things out of stock. That's what we're missing to make those blends. And there was a vendor who came to Young Living and said, I've got Blue Tansy, it's really great quality, we think it meets your standards. So they brought some to Young Living and they tested it, and it didn't pass the test. And we know how much people love their Peace and Calming and their Valor. And Walter, who's in charge of making money for Young Living, said that there is an advisory board and it has to pass so many different boards. And he said that there's different tests, and if it fails something, and he said it could just be that, for example, lavender, like maybe it's just a little bit different color, and so it wasn't, what lavender really usually is, and so it goes to this board, and the board has to decide, okay, is this lavender we're going to use, or are we going to send it back if it's a third-party vendor? If it's our own oil or our own farm, then I'm not sure what they do with it then. They probably use it for the floral water or gosh, what do I want to say? Instead of pesticides, so nurture the plants, that kind of thing. But he was like, if it was up to me, we probably would have sold it, but it's not up to him. Thank goodness, because it just didn't meet Young Living standards. So if it's a third party, comes from a vendor, outside vendor, it's carefully vetted. And then if it doesn't meet the standards, it actually gets sent back to them, which I thought was really interesting, because I talked to my husband about this, and I'm like, it's interesting they send it back to the vendor and then they have to figure out what to do with it, because I'm pretty sure, just guessing here, but I bet that probably goes on the market somewhere else. So think about that. There's things that didn't meet Young Living's quality, get sent back to the vendor, and probably some other company is selling it. But that's just kind of some thoughts that were in my head, kind of makes you go, a little bit there. So that was really cool to know. So any oils, like I said, that doesn't meet the standards aren't sold by Young Living. So we have our internal labs. I'll show you some pictures of those, and the third-party labs as well. So test, what's important there, unwavering standards, sound methods, and superior results. Okay, so these are some pictures actually from my trip to the warehouse, and I wish I could show you all of it because it was just so cool. But over on the left is a little sign that says QA quarantine. They actually built a new part of the warehouse, and the whole up top of it was going to be retransformed into a new lab, including a huge quarantine. So it says, all manufactured finished products are inspected and tested to meet Young Living specifications. Once accepted, the product is issued into inventory. So it goes into quarantine and they test it before it ever goes out into anything else or logged into inventory or anything like that. So the middle picture, I actually took about 3 pictures to get these all in. So you can see kind of the little Petri dish there and the little kind of microscope views of different things. They actually, I left myself a note about this. I wonder what I did with it. They actually grow the different constituents out, so the different oils out, and they give them the environment that they would grow the most in of different things. So one was like mold, yeast, different things like that that could develop on that oil to make it go bad. So they make the temperature and the environment where that stuff would really thrive and grow. So as a nurse, I think of patients getting yeast in really wet areas or moist, hot areas. So that is probably what they do for that. But there was a whole slew all the way across of all the different pictures of all the different things that they almost even try and incite so that they can see whether or not those things would grow. So like, you know, I store my oils in a cool place, and they aren't really subjected to a lot of the things that it would be there, but it's kind of cool to know that it's been tested. So that isn't in what I'm purchasing. And then on the right, that was a picture of the lab. It was really cool. You can't really see it in the picture, but back in the background, there's a whole bunch of like Petri dishes. And like I said, well, I guess I didn't say this, but I had started with almost was really close to a science minor. I took a lot of science classes in college. That was something I was really interested in. And so that stuff just kind of brings me back to my laboratory days of doing that sort of thing. And the other thing, gosh, I wish I had an answer for this, but as you can see, he has a home diffuser in the laboratory, and it has a blue lid. I've never seen that. I turned to a girl next to me who is a Young Living Gold that I've known for quite a while, and I'm like, oh, look at that blue lid. It's so pretty. I would love to have a blue lid. So I don't know if that's special for the laboratory or something, but it was kind of cool. Okay, seal. So Young Living seals, you can see the little gold seal and just the seal on the bottles. It's something that you know that it's been made by Young Living. So using state-of-the-art equipment, Young Living completes the seed to seal process by carefully sealing and labeling each bottle of essential oil and shipping to members worldwide. One thing I want to caution people about is I have heard of some people buying oils off of Amazon from that are Young Living oils. And I just really caution against that because like you see the little bottle thing on there, it would be really easy to take that off and to get a new bottle on there with the cap, and it could be adulterated, it could be you know, diluted down, something like that. So you want to make sure anytime that you're buying your oil straight from Young Living or somebody who's a Young Living distributor, the policies and procedures, gosh, I cannot get this oil off of here. Policies and procedures actually prohibit selling on sites like that. So if you ever see something, you should actually report that to Young Living, unless there are certain places like if you have a gym, they can have certain accounts where they can sell oils, that kind of thing in the store, but usually not on swap sites or Craigslist or Amazon, that kind of thing. So like I said, just this little, it'd be really easy to get the lids just like what they have and get it so you can just put it on there and take some of the oil out or whatever. So don't do that. Make sure you're buying straight from Young Living. Okay. All right, so the other thing I want to mention was the Scientific Advisory Council. So this consists of biochemists, there's a Reiki master on there, there is several pharmacists, and actually some medical doctors. So I know Dr. Tom Reed is a podiatrist, and there's actually some other doctors that have been in integrative medicine, have done research and been professors of medicine, that kind of thing. So there's probably about 10, I'm just guessing, that are on the advisory council. So they help kind of guide Young Living and make sure that we're on the right track too, just kind of an extra safeguard there. And I think it's great to know that we have medical doctors that are at the forefront of Young Living. So that's cool. All right, so now we're gonna get into some of the bulk of what I am so excited to talk to you about. So this is a little infographic that shows you a look around the farms. So these are the farms around the globe. So the little dots that are like teal looking, those are a Young Living farm or distillery. So you can see that we actually have them on multiple continents. And then it does not have the partner farms or the co-op farms on there, because like I know we have a partner co-op farm in Australia. So these are just the farms I believe that Young Living either owns or we have a distillery there. So there are some farms I believe that Young Living doesn't own that maybe we're partnered with, but we actually built a distillery there so we can distill the stuff ourselves. So we'll learn a little bit more about that. One thing I wanted to show you guys, I always like to have my handy dandy premium starter kit out here, but there's tons of stuff in here. I love this new starter kit because the old one, there was a whole bunch of papers I didn't even know about, and I was probably in Young Living for, 6 months, and one of my oils fell behind, so I opened it up, and there was like a whole bunch of information in there that I didn't know about. But one thing that's really cool in the new premium starter kit is this. If you open it up, it actually is a Young Living roadmap, but it's like this little global map right there, and it has all the farms on it, so it's really cool. One helpful tip, this is unrelated, but there's a spot in here to write your username, your member ID, and your password, and your sponsor. And if I'm with somebody when they enroll and I'm giving them a kit right then and there, which sometimes I'm able to do, I make sure people write this down so that when they want to reorder or they need to call customer service, they have that information at their fingertips. So take a look at that if this is the kit that you have. If not, this information is available. You can actually go to seedtoseal.com. and there's all sorts of information there. Okay, so like I said, Young Living has multiple farms that we own. That's what makes us special, that we own our own. But that's just not feasible on every continent and everywhere that we know that there's amazing things growing. So Gary has gone out to different places looking for different things. Anytime he's on a trip, Mary kind of jokes that he's out there. Britta kind of joked if he came to Iowa, he'd probably be looking through the cornfields to try and find some sort of plant that we can distill an oil from that's probably going to be beneficial to somebody out there. So, you know, we truly believe that God made everything for a purpose, and that there's probably things there that we haven't discovered yet. Sorry, I'm going to move this a little bit so you can see. Okay, so back on track. We'll talk about the partner farms, the co-op farms, and qualified vendors. So besides their own farms, Young Living partially owns, invests in, or otherwise has contractual rights to many other farms around the world, in partnership with independent growers. So there will always be some oils in the world that Young Living cannot grow on their own farms. So we've developed partnerships with farmers throughout the world. Young Living invests in these farmers' operations and helps them become more productive and efficient. They build stainless steel extraction chambers, purchase farm equipment, teach better distillation practices, and support their operation and technology with financial assistance. So way over on the left, that I believe that farmer's name is Vince. They showed a video of him at convention, and he is in Darwin, Australia. One of the reasons that they showed it is actually Australia, Darwin, Australia is where the next diamond retreat is. So they kind of showed a little bit of video prefacing that a little bit. And it was really cool because he was talking about how, I believe I read the story, if I'm getting this right, he actually owned like a plantation that the government used to own, and then for whatever reason they didn't keep up on it or something like that. And he has blue cypress trees there, and he started kind of thinking about the blue cypress and kind of wondering if he could distill it. And so he started doing it, and it's just brilliant blue. There was a video I watched that was really awesome. And so he said it was just a couple days. He went into town, was starting to ask around, and he's like, all of a sudden Young Living was there at my door, and they had a discussion with me, and they wanted to invest in my farm and help me distill this and replant these trees and this precious resource that we have. So that's how we have some of our awesome blue cypress. So anybody that is a diamond or making diamond in the next year, you'll have to tell me about the trip to Australia, because I'm super excited. That's really cool. So that is one example of, I think they're considered a co-op farm. So the partners in the co-ops worldwide, they must meet very specific requirements. So just like we would do if we were growing it ourselves, Young Living wants them to make sure they hold those standards before we'll accept their oil. So all partnership operations are monitored and audited, and incoming oils are tested before they are approved and become part of the inventory. So like I showed you that little quarantine picture before, that's just the same thing. So these respected growers work exclusively with Young Living and pledge to adhere strictly to the seed to seal process. Young Living monitors the quality and authenticity of the botanicals and oils they provide, and they must meet food stainless steel quality standards. So everything has to be stainless steel, which is cool. So through these partner farms, Young Living is able to support local independent farming while maintaining our absolute commitment to quality. So that's really cool. So a couple examples, like I said, the Darwin Farm is considered the Young Living Botanical Distillery, and they, Vince Collins, that's the guy's name, I did have it in my notes, and Blue Cypress is one of the distinctive things that they do there. So that picture in the middle is actually the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood, and that is a picture from the Diamond Retreat this past year, and I don't remember the name of, let's see if I can find it. The name of the farm that's there. I did find it in this book. It was really cool. Oh, gosh, I had a bookmark right in here, so I might be able to find it quick. Just a second. Sorry to ramble here for you guys, but I want to give you the name of this because it was really neat. Hawaiian Sandalwood Cooperative Farm. So it says Young Living and the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood Plantation in Kailua Kona. They've signed a long-term exclusive agreement with licenses and permits from the state of Hawaii to support long-term sustainability. So we have secure source of the treasured essential oil that has been threatened by overharvesting. So that's really cool. So one of the things that we're doing there is helping with conservation and reforestation of sandalwood trees. So that's really cool. Yeah, so that middle picture is sandalwood. The right picture is actually a picture, I believe, if I remember right, it was in Taiwan, that Gary was looking at a farm over there to kind of see what he thought about it. So I'm not sure. We do have a partner farm in Taiwan, but I'm not sure if that particular picture comes from it. But in Taiwan, we have a cooperative farm. So that happened in 2011. Gary flew to the island and became friends with a PhD there, Jin Lee, who is an agriculturist. And together, him and this Jin Lee and his son, who's actually an engineer, started distilling exotic Hung Kwai and Xing Mao. And I learned that, oh gosh, now I shut the page again. Xing Mao and Hung Kwai, one of them is red lemongrass, and one of them is red something else. Red lemongrass and red, oh gosh, I should have left myself better notes here. Anyway, it was kind of cool to me to know that that's what they were. So those red lemon, or the Hung Kwai, Xing Mao, and the J Lemon, they were actually in a exotic oils collection that was in 2014. So each year, I believe the last couple of years, they've done an exotic oil collection of particular oils just from a particular region. So that's kind of neat. There's also a farm in a co-op farm in Dubai, Dubai Somaliland. We partnered with a 3-generation family business owner, and they provide crucial Boswellia carteri and Boswellia fariniana. And so Boswellia is frankincense. So one of those, I think, is sacred frankincense. I'm not up on my frankincense. But at the Somalia farm, frankincense resin is collected and sent to the Dubai farm to be distilled. So there's 2 different farms, but they're like in partnership with each other, or they're owned by the same person, I think. They run 6 days a week. They distill frankincense. It's exclusively for Young Living. And the Dubai farm has actually rebuilt their distillery to meet the seed to steel standard. So that's really cool. So those are our partner farms and our co-op farms. Sorry, my throat's getting dry already from talking too much. My husband will laugh and say that I probably should be used to it by now, but anyway. So the other thing is the qualified vendor. So sometimes we do have to buy things from outside vendors. Like I said, Walter Moot was telling us about, and he actually did my warehouse tour. There's actually people that do the tours, and he just stepped in and said, I'll do this one. So got some really interesting information from him. There was a lady that kept him on task, though, and made sure he wasn't letting us take pictures where we shouldn't and where we couldn't be and that kind of thing. It was kind of funny. So we do purchase some essential oils from a variety of global vendors whose suppliers abide by the stringent demanding seed to seal process. So those are rigorously tested. And, you know, like I said, somebody had blue tansy and it just didn't meet the cut, so back it went. So Young Living invests in farmers. buys land, invests in equipment, plants crops, and builds distilleries to not only secure the oil production, but also to support local economy and create security for rural commodities. With this in mind, one has to be prepared for certain oils to go out of stock until the next harvest and distillation. And as you know, there's some things that we're waiting on till fall. There are some things that were getting close to being harvested when I was out at the Mona Farm, so hopefully those will be coming back in soon. But it seems in America, you know, we want what we want and we want it now. That's kind of what we're used to. But the choice is to either wait until the next distillation or to have a pure oil, or buy a not so pure oil or synthetic oil. So I know in my case, I choose only to use Young Living oils, and I'm proud of their standards actually. And usually, you know, go back to that reference class that I had, you know, you can use your reference materials and you might be able to find a different oil that might support the same thing that you're looking to support in your body. So just kind of don't be afraid to try something else. When in doubt, try lavender, and if it doesn't work, try frankincense. That'll probably get you half the way there. Try the lavender first because it's cheaper. Okay, so Mona, Utah. Oh my gosh, I could talk forever about this. My husband could talk forever about this. I think between the two of us, we took like 500 pictures in, I think the bus left at 2 to 8 or something. So, oh, Brinkley's wanting to get in. He wants to join the Mona Farm talk. Anyway, so I tried to narrow some really cool things down for you, but we're going to go through, you'll get to see a little bit about my experience. So the Mona Farm has been growing lavender, hyssop, clary sage, peppermint, goldenrod since 1995. They recently started growing einkorn grain. That's a really cool way that's processed. I learned about that. They actually like leave the husks up for a couple of days and they start to germinate, and that actually is better for digestion than just harvesting it right away. So that was really cool. So the farm hosts the Lavender Days 5K. They had that a couple weeks or a week after we were out there. You actually get to do a 5K and you get to run through the lavender fields. Oh my gosh. And when we were out there, you'll hear in some of the videos that, oh, I'm just like, oh, it smells so good. It smells so good. It smells so good. It's just so fragrant. There was hardly any bugs. And it just, if you've ever had a raindrop, it smelled like you had a raindrop. It, like, I could smell that, all of the stuff just on my skin and my hair. Oh, it's just wonderful. It was like the opposite of going to a smoky bar and smelling that on you. It was like smelling the fragrances and knowing they're non-synthetic and not harmful to you, and just breathing it all in. It was awesome. So the Mona Farm has nearly 1,600 acres. So I think about all the acres that my dad farmed. 1,600 acres just blows my mind. Home to the largest privately owned essential oil distillery in the world, the Mona Farm. It's been serving the local and Young Living communities since 1995. Many different plants harvested here, both to be distilled in pure essential oils for our members and for botanical research. So like I said, you can go to the Mona Farm when convention is out in Salt Lake. They have it next year. They're going to have a farm day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We went on Friday, and that was it was just so awesome. But another way to get to go see the Mona Farm is that if you make Young Living Silver rank for 3 months in a row, you get to go on the Silver Retreat. And you get to go out there, expenses paid, and just learn from all of Young Living, get to see kind of a little private tour and just some awesomeness out in the farm. And the other way is you can just drop by. So there's a visitor center, and as a Young Living member, you are able to just drop by any of the Young Living owned farms. I even saw how some of the partner farms will allow you to do that as well. On the Seed to Seal website, they have the phone numbers. So they do recommend that you actually call, and they will have a tour guide assigned to you. So like I said, you could just show up if you wanted to, but if you want to get the best experience, call ahead and have a scheduled tour guide. And there wasn't really anything at the farm that you couldn't go see. They didn't really block anything off. It's all just transparent and open. So this was really cool. We got to plant some yarrow. So as I kind of talked a little bit, this is like a little seedling over on the right. And I think, let's see if I can get back to, let's see, I might have to do this quick here. And, oh, I didn't write it down. I had a little video of the guy, but I didn't write down the number, and we're probably going to be short on time, so we probably better skip that. So that was really cool. We'll go back here to the PowerPoint. Let's see. Oh gosh, I just screwed that up. Well, like I said, you know, sometimes you just have these technical difficulties. So let's see. And now my mouse doesn't really want, ooh, perfect. We went right back to the right spot. Awesome. Okay, so here is Ben and I actually planting a full yarrow plant seedling into the ground. So the farmers are out there to help make sure, but you know, we got to plant and take pictures, and it was just really awesome. I actually have another picture, I couldn't fit it on the slide, where I actually took with the farmers and for the ranch hands, I'm not exactly sure what they're called out there, but just thank them for everything that they did. So it was awesome. So this is at the distillery, and they were distilling juniper. So this behind us is a whole pile of juniper, and it just smelled wonderful. It's juniper clippings. So that was really awesome to be able to see. And then this was one of the pictures that were one of the things they had kind of each step in the process they had a little sign about, but this is about the distilling, which is some facts there. So that was really cool. And this is the cooker. So I wish I could show you how big that is, but it's really big. So some of the things they actually, in some of the pictures I saw, they have like a tractor tire filled with cement that actually kind of like pushes down kind of like some of the things so you can get the most you can in the cooker. That was really cool. These are my pictures. So, and then this is actually the distillery. So I think, let's see if we can try this again. So on the left, that's blue. Nope, that's juniper. And on the right is, I don't remember. Juniper, and I don't remember what it was. Oh. Okay, but let's see if I can go back here and get, I had some pictures ready for you guys to show you. 24.98 I need. Oh gosh, just a second. Let's see if I can find it here. 24.98, here we go. Oh, let's see if I can get in here. So that was Blue Yarrow, I think is what that was. So you can kind of see that distilling in there. Let's see if I can play that again for you. I don't know if I'll be that lucky. We better just keep moving on. Technology is not really my friend tonight, so. Okay, so there we go. So that's the distillation. So it's the steam kind of runs through, and as that happens, the oil rises to the top. So the oil is the little oily part of the plants. So depending on how much oil they get from each amount, that's kind of determination of how expensive some of the things are. So that's kind of really cool to see in action. This is just Ben and I in one of the lavender fields. It was just so beautiful. So we were taking lots of pictures, and gosh, let me look and see how much time we have. Okay, we've got a little bit of time here. So I have a, let's see if I can find it. There's a little video, and you can actually watch this on Vimeo of the lavender harvest. Let's see if I can figure out how to share it. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. I think you can see what I have on there. So this is the Mona farm. This is where they have the lavender harvest. They do have lavender in other places, but you can actually volunteer to go help with the harvest. So that's really cool. You can just be a part of the Seed to Seal. So this is the lavender harvest. And this was happening this month in July. As you know, that our promo this month focuses on lavender, and that's why, to celebrate the harvest. This is in Mona, but they also were doing it in Provence, in our farm there, and Lindsay Elmore's had some awesome videos about that. So, okay, we are gonna go back. We're gonna stop this one and see if I can get savvy enough to go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so that's lavender harvest. Awesome opportunity if you ever get the chance. So another farm, I won't talk as much about all the other farms, I promise, because the Mona one was just so cool to see. And I thought I had some more videos I wanted to show you guys. Let's see where I wrote those down. Oh, bummer. Okay, sorry, we're gonna go back here. We're gonna go back to the Mona farm, and I wanna show you guys Sorry, this is probably not the most productive way to do this, but I did want to show you these videos, and this was the best way I found to do it. So, okay, just a second. Sorry about this rambling. I hope you guys like listening to me ramble. We're here at the Young Living Lavender Farm. There's tons of fields around us. So this is some video I took. A little yarrow seedling. So we are going through their bin, and we're going to check out what they have out here at the farm. It's just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. If you ever get a chance to check out a Young Living Farm, you can just show up to the visitor center and they'll let you in. Make sure you give them your number. And a really cool thing you can do as a Young Living member, you can go see all the farms. So that's what sets us apart, that we make all of our own, or grow most of our own plants to make most of our oils. So super awesome. All right. Okay, and there's one more I want to show you guys. Sorry. While I have your attention, let's see, 2445. Wrote down my numbers for myself here. Hopefully this is showing on the screen. And here we go. You guys, just the awesome scenery out here. It's just amazing. Again, you can smell everything as you walk by. It is just awesome. I like the word awesome apparently in my videos. So, okay, wanted to make sure I showed those to you guys because I just, oh gosh, it was so cool. So I hope everybody gets the opportunity either to go to convention or go and just visit one of the farms, especially if there's one close to you. Make sure you check out that map. If there's one close to you, oh, that would just be so awesome. So there's also a store at the Mona Farm. I have a video of that, but didn't take the time to show you guys that. And you can buy pretty much everything that Young Living sells. They even had some stuff that's out of stock in Virtual Office. And even some, they have the equine products that you can't buy yet in Virtual Office. And you get PV for them. And I think you even probably get the promotions too. So that was really cool. So, okay, moving on. Highland Flat. So this is the site of the winter harvest and the spring replanting event. So those are events you'll get an email. And as a Young Living member, you can actually take part in them. I think that the harvest is probably a lot colder here than it is in Mona at the Highland Flats farm, because I think it's like it's in the winter harvest. So the scenic Highland Flats Tree Farm is one place members experience our seed to seal process firsthand. This farm grows and distills Idaho balsam fir, western red cedar, pine, Idaho blue spruce, and other conifer trees. So it is home to one of the world's largest essential oil distilleries. And they host, like I said, the winter harvest and the spring reforestation. And Highland Flats gives back to the earth with sustainable farming practices. So this is definitely on my bucket list to go see. So I have a video of the harvest. Let's see if I can find that here. I think we got to go here and here. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Here we go. Oh, nope, don't want you. There we go. This is the winter harvest.
Hello from Highland Flats. We're the Oily Angels. We're having the best time here at Winter Harvest 2015.
That's Lindsay Gramont, the homemade mommy, for those of you guys who might follow her.
We're at Young Living's Highland Flats farm experiencing the winter harvest. And it is an incredible experience. It's been amazing. Once in a lifetime was amazing. It is gorgeous. And an adventure. Gosh, it can't get better than these. Today we're on one of the Young Living farms harvesting balsam fir.
We've done everything from chopping down trees,
Driving horses.
Hands-on process that you can't really experience until you're on the farm.
Learning how to drive and crash and actually end up getting a tree down was pretty awesome. Be able to use your oils at home is one thing, and then to come here and to be a part of the whole process. I got to operate machinery and take down a tree. How cool is that?
This makes me laugh because I grew up on a farm, so some of this stuff is secondhand to me, but I'm glad that members have the chance to experience it.
To see the qualities and the scientific basis of everything that goes into our oils is really eye-opening. I don't think there's another essential oil company in the world that allows you to cut down trees, chip the trees, load the cookers, stomp on the cookers, distill the oil, and bottle it. One of the things I really loved about our experience here was the incredible training that we received. I have so much information
to take home and share, I'm bursting at the seams. I mean, how many times do you get to just walk in and get an audience with the president, the founder, the CEO of a company, and he's just sitting there in his lumberjack shirt. He is so down to earth. He's so real. He's so genuine. He absolutely loves what he does.
Sometimes you feel like you're just out there in the world helping people, and now we get to all be together as a team and really understand how we can help each other to help more people. Through every training session that we had, I thought to myself, oh, I need to share this with my team. And then I looked around and there were 30 people from my team listening right then. It was the most amazing thing. Prior to coming to Winter Harvest, I
got to meet this lady. She was in a line I was in at convention. I don't remember her name.
Has been amazing.
I think she's a platinum though.
For anyone who has any doubts whatsoever that Young Living produces the best quality oils in the world, you need to come and be a part of a Winter Harvest.
I'm most excited about going home and knowing in my heart that what they claim this company to be is truth. You guys, you have to be here. You have to experience it for yourself. I mean, it's nothing like it. It's been a great week.
I have family at home, but I have family here.
Join us here for the Young Living Winter Harvest next year, 2016.
Oh, I get emotional just watching that. It just makes me super excited to take part in all those different things. So that is Winter Harvest, and that is at the Highland Flats Farm. So, okay, back to the PowerPoint. Okay, I promise. I think we're all done with videos, but I really wanted to show that stuff to you guys. Oh, gosh. Uh-oh.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Texas.
Somehow we started something we didn't want to start.
I reckon you've heard that here in Texas, we're known for our oil.
Well, you're right.
We have a whole heap of Young Living members here in Texas.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, we are just technology not savvy tonight. Not savvy at all. Okay, we're going back to the PowerPoint. I promise. I just said no more videos and then I accidentally hit one. So, okay. Let's go. Here we go. Okay, we are back. Winter Harvest. Showed that. Okay, so this is St. Marie's Farm in Idaho. This is a 200-acre pristine farmland. It was actually Gary's first farm purchase, and this is where Young Living started, here in St. Marie's. The farm grows botanicals like lavender, melissa, and tansy. And it's, like I said, it's the farm where it all started, and it happened in it was established when Gary brought lavender seeds from Provence, France, 1993, and he planted them on what is now the St. Marie's Farm. It has never been contaminated by industrial chemicals, and this farm grows botanicals for distillation, like I said, including melissa. Oh, melissa's awesome. Tansy, which we love, and lavender. So, and actually this is where the gold retreat is at St. Marie's. So if you reach the status of gold, you get a free trip to St. Marie's to visit the farm there. So Guayaquil, Ecuador. This one is really, this is where the Young Living Foundation started, because they grew. There was a need there for a school, and that's kind of how that all started. So you can learn more about that on our foundation class that we're going to have soon. But so the lush, fertile soil in Guayaquil creates a superb environment to grow unique, rare botanicals like eucalyptus blue, ylang ylang, chocolate, which the chocolate, we don't have a chocolate oil, but there is chocolate in Ningxia Nitro, Dorado Azul, and Acatea, among lots of others. This farm's state-of-the-art distillery is the largest in South America, so that's pretty cool. So the tropical climate in Guayaquil allows our plants and harvests to be happening all year round. So there's actually multiple harvests in Ecuador, and the rich soil and lush environment nourish the most exotic botanicals, like I said, like ylang ylang, Dorado Azul, those kind of things. And this is where the Platinum Retreat is. And there's actually, Young Living has a clinic / spa area there, and it's open to the public as well. So that's really awesome. You can learn a little bit more about that. Tons about each one of these farms in this book. So if you want to learn more, and like I said, go to seedtoseal.com. You can learn more about each one there too. So I am going to slaughter this. Siamani La Raton, France. I've been watching videos lately from Lindsay Elmore, who's out in Europe for the harvest, and she calls it Provence. I think that's the area that they're at. So that's what I'm going to call it, because it's a lot easier to say, and I know how to say it. So, celebrated for its rolling hills and fields of fragrant lavender, the region of Provence is home to our third farm, and the picturesque farm grows lavender, lavandin, which I believe is just a little bit different species of lavender. There's just recently a video about that on Lindsay's page, so you can watch that. They have rosemary, clary sage, and also einkorn green, which you can see in the middle there. So this region is renowned for its rolling hills and fields of fragrant lavender. How beautiful. It just, oh, it's so beautiful. It's the only American-owned lavender farm in France, and Young Living takes advantage of this fertile land to grow clary sage, lavender, rosemary, and lavandin. I really wanted you guys to know that. I put it in my notes like 3 times, so there you go. Northern Lights, Canada. So we know this is where our Northern Lights black spruce comes from, and these trees get to benefit from being under the Northern Lights, so just think about that. That's really cool. So we purchased it in 2014. The farm grows and distills black spruce, ledum, yarrow, and other botanicals. As part of our commitment, Young Living's commitment to sustainability, the scenic farm will also be the site of continuous reforestation. I saw a question about reforestation and replanting lately, and here's your answer. They're reforesting and replanting the trees that we harvest, including black spruce, which are crucial for our very popular essential oil blend, Valor. Following extensive scouting and research for the best possible location, Young Living purchased this land in British Columbia for the Northern Lights farm in 2014. So some of the blends that come from things in this farm are Valor 2, as well as Valor, Shutron, which my husband loves, Harmony, Awaken, and Envision. So as you can see, some benefits to our emotional well-being there. It was relatively untouched. It was free of synthetic chemicals and fertilizers when we took it over, and it will always be as long as Young Living owns it, which hopefully is forever. Selah, Oman. Oh my gosh, there is just so much history of this over in the Holy Land. My mom actually got to go to the Holy Lands when she was first working, and so probably back in her 20s, and she just has awesome stories to tell. That was kind of a different time then, but that would be really cool to go visit. So since 2010, Young Living has partnered with local Omani harvesters to obtain and secure a supply of frankincense resin. Young Living is the first and only company in the world to obtain permission to distill and export this precious essential oil and bring it to the Western world. Young Living is the first and only company, like I said, it's exporting, this is sacred frankincense. So this is Boswellia sacra trees, and they've been harvested there for the past 5,000 years. So today they're harvested the same way and on the same schedule as back in history. And there's also some really cool limestone cliffs out there that are the perfect environment for the Boswellia sacra, the sacred frankincense, the trees we get those from. So the other really cool farm is Split, Croatia. So this is one of the recent farms that Young Living had, and the Diamond Retreat was there in 2015. So that specializes in the production of helichrysum, and it actually grows, helichrysum is what's on the right there, the yellow, I believe, actually grows in really rocky places. So that was really crazy. They had to get like diamond little drills and stuff to go in the rocks. So that was nuts. All right. So one thing I wanted to tell you about was the floral water. So this is what, when you have the distillation process, this is the water that goes through that kind of pushes that oil to the top. So there's only 5 farms in the world that have essential floral water spas, and they're all 5 Young Living. So I heard about this first in reference to the Ecuador farm in Guayaquil. So you can see there, these are the different floral waters that you can actually, they have like hot tubs full of them, and you can just soak in the benefits. I saw some pictures from people after the harvest, like the winter harvest, going in the, that would be the Northern Lights. And I think there's also winter harvest at Highland Flats too. So just it would be an awesome experience. So who doesn't love a hot tub? And it would just be even better with floral water. I'm just sure of it. Someday I'll show you a video, hopefully, of being in a floral water spa. So, okay, so to wrap it up, so the promise to families from Young Living. So Young Living believes that you and your family deserve products that are genuine, free of synthetic chemicals, and of unmatched purity. Seed to Seal is both a promise to you and a reflection of the sense of global stewardship. So this is just what Seed to Seal is all about. You want to make sure that what you're giving to your pets, what you're giving to your loved ones, what you're giving to your family, your children, just meets those high standards, and you can be sure of that with Young Living. So experience seed to seal. So there's just lots of different ways you can do that. Like I said, you can go to the farms, you can participate in the harvest, you can go on any of the retreats. So just take advantage, you guys. Make sure you get yourself to a farm. I really recommend going to convention and being able to go to the farm. There was just a lot of things going on when we were at the Mona farm, but Ben and I said we'd love to go some other time too, where you could just kind of walk around. Didn't even get to show you a picture of the stables of all the animals, the awesome stream that was there, paddle boats, all sorts of stuff. Just so much stuff. Like I told Ben, I could have spent like 4 days there. So we're going to wrap it up. Committed to purity from seed to seal. So Young Living has spent, and Gary has spent over 30 years developing relationships with people all around the world. Gary's often said that his quest has been to develop a strong foundation for the future supply of our members and their children for generations to come. For this reason, this is why Young Living will always be the world leader in essential oils. Different companies can come around, but they don't have the 30 years of experience, the research, and nobody else has their own farms and distilleries. And they don't have the seed to seal standard. So we're the best, and we always are going to be the best. And so this was established to provide essential oil demand for our members. The strength of Young Living's dedication, sacrifice, and determination is the foundation of Young Living and its commitment to its members. Through each step of the production process on both their own and partner farms, like I said, they just have really strict standards that they're watching the co-op and partner farms, and then all of the vendor farms things are tested at least those 6 times. Makes it possible to have the most exceptional standards, making our products, our lives, and our earth even better. So it's just awesome. Like I said, I really like that word, but only one company can make the seed to seal promise, and that's only Young Living. So if you guys have any questions, I did not put my contact information here, but it's Kelly at Faithful Drops with 2 L's. You can also watch this. Hopefully you found this on the YouTube channel, and just all sorts of ways to get in touch. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, I'd love to sit down with you and tell you about the farm for 3-4 hours. So if you want to know more, just let me know, okay? All right, guys. We will see you next week. Our class is on, I have my kit, now what? So that'll be a really great class. All right, good night. God bless.